Hello there, 7th graders. This is teacher Krishna, and welcome one more time to our science class for week number 15. Thank you all for all of the effort you're doing into completing the lessons online and, of course, all of the assignments that you have had so far. So keep it up, please. And I'm very glad to be your teacher because you're doing a great job. You're actually doing a great job, and, of course, you're awesome students. I'm pretty sure that with time you're going to become great professionals in the future. So let's start off with today's session. So before we start, get your book, enter the Google Classroom, download your Word document, and save it as it is specified right below. And as we move, remember that you have to take notes on your Word document. That is extremely important so you keep track of the most important information from here. And just like always, it's important to start with our end in mind. This week we're going to study lesson 3, pages 86 to 91. And our end in mind for the week summarizes the changes to Earth's surface that occurred as a result of plate movements by answering questions using a graph. Okay, so make sure to write this down on your Word document and we're going to move on. So, we're going to talk about the theory of plate tectonics. So it's a very simple topic to understand. And the first thing that you need to know is that there are several plates in Earth. And they remind us of a cracked egg. And that is why I have this egg right here on the screen. So basically, all of that cracks that you see in there and all of those divisions are something similar to what happens in the mantle of Earth. All right. And Earth's lithosphere is similar. It has broken pieces separated by cracks. So imagine that instead of the egg that you have right there, it is the world. And we will take off all the mountains and several rocks that are on the first layer of Earth. We will find something similar to this, all right? And let's continue. We have movements of plate tectonics. So divergent boundary. So you are going to notice that right now we're going to have several terms, but basically they refer that the plate tectonics on Earth are constantly moving. But the first one is a divergent boundary. That means that they move apart from each other. Or, as we summarize it with another word, can be diverge. We have convergent boundary. It means that they come together. Or, in other words, we can say that they converge. And lastly, we have transform boundary. And it means that they slip past each other along. So, I know that it might be a little bit difficult to understand these concepts just like this one. But we're going to see an image right here that helps us out a lot to explain it better. So just like you can see in the divergent movement, so they are separating from each other. If we analyze the one in the middle is convergent. It means that they are colliding or that they are getting together. And lastly, we have transform. So they're not separating, they're not getting together, they are just moving alongside, okay? And one more time, these are the 3 types of movements from the plate tectonics. Now we're going to see something a little bit interesting. So in 1916, geologists combined what they knew about seafloor spreading and the theory of plate tectonics. So remember that last time we were learning about the theory of the mid-ocean ridges or the seafloor spreading as well. But then in the 1960s, geologists changed that theory into the theory of plate tectonics. They argumented that Earth's plates are in constant movement by the activity in the mantle. So And we're going to see it a little bit later, but you will find that even though it's hardly visible, it's possible to find out that the plate tectonics are in constant movement. And one of the examples of that movement is that gravity pulls denser plates HS downward into the mantle. So gravity is a force that is constantly acting upon everyone and everything in Earth. So plate tectonics are not an exception. And basically, all of the gravity is trying to push everything downwards into the mantle. Okay, and the motion of these plates can even move continents. So you might remember that we were studying the gigantic continent of Pangaea, which was basically only one continent that was formed by all of the rock formations that we had on Earth. But how was it possible that it separated? Well, it was possible through the movement of plate tectonics. And scientists theorized that because of the movement in plate tectonics, the gigantic continent Pangaea was separated into the continents that we have nowadays. And right here we have an overview of the plate tectonics that have been identified in the world. And you can see, for example, the Pacific plate with that characteristic sky blue color of water. Or you can see the North American plate, the Caribbean plate, which is a little bit smaller. We have the Caucasus plate, Nazca plate, and so on and so forth. You can take a look at all of the plates that are around. So, and I would like you to try to find out where we are located at. Where is Guatemala in the map? It's of course right below North America and right above South America. So just like you can notice right there, so there are several plate tectonics that are colliding. And specifically when plate tectonics collide and they start to move, they generate earthquakes. So that is why Guatemala and the countries around us are very seismic because of the same thing that I was just mentioning right now. Because we are right in the middle of several plate tectonics. So that is why it is very common to feel little earthquakes or some earthquakes around. Now we're going to talk about plate motion. So scientists use satellites to measure the movement of continents. They move in between 1 to 15 centimeters every year. So imagine, that's insane. Because they are moving, but they are moving super slowly. Imagine just 1 centimeter every year. And it's necessary that 365 days go by. And it is as fast as a fingernail grows. So people compare it to your fingernails because the process of growth is extremely slow. And since this has happened for millions of years, scientists have evidence that before Pangaea, other supercontinents joined and separated. So Pangaea is just one of the supercontinents that once formed in Earth, and of course that later on separated into several continents. But according to scientists, because of the movement that plate tectonics have every single year, it's possible that several supercontinents have formed and separated during history. And right here we have an example of Pangaea that is right at the top. And Pangaea was formed 200 million years ago. Just like you can notice right below, in 115 million years ago, all of the continents start to separate a little bit more. And lastly, in Earth today, you can notice that all of the continents are separated, just like we have known our world so far. But remember that all of this is caused because of the movement of the plate tectonics. Now we're going to analyze plates boundaries. So there's something interesting to analyze, which is faults, which are basically breaks in Earth's crust. Convection currents cause the plates to move. This motion produces changes in Earth's surface. And we also have divergent boundaries, which was pretty much what we were analyzing before, when plates move apart from each other. And in Ireland, people can walk in between one of these divergent boundaries. And this is extremely interesting to analyze because if you ever travel to Ireland, there is this very specific touristic place where two plate tectonics are separating and moving away from each other. Okay, we can also go with Rift Valley. Pieces of Earth's crust separate and they create a deep valley. Okay, so now right here, this is the place in Ireland that I was just talking about. Is basically where the plate tectonics are moving away from each other. And just like you can notice, right in the middle, there's like a road where people can move around. It's a pretty touristic place around there. Alright, now we're going to go with your evaluation for the week. Now please read pages 86 to 91 and summarize them in a Word document, especially pages 90 and 91. Just like always, I already summarized most of the content. Make sure to read the last pages and add them to your summary as well. Make sure you include images and all of the relevant content from those pages. And please study lessons 1, 2, and 3. Notice that in next week we're going to have a evaluation on these 3 topics. So it's important that you have all of your summaries in order, and of course that you start studying for the evaluation next week. Lastly, please participate in the Zoom session with interactive questions. Keep in mind that your participation in the Zoom sessions are extremely important, so make sure to attend and participate actively during all of the session. Besides that, and before avoiding confusion, well, today you don't have to upload your Word documents to the platform. Today you only have to make your summary, you have to study, and participate in the Zoom session. You don't have to upload your document to the Google Classroom, all right? Take that into account. Any questions or something that you haven't understand, you can contact me in the Google Classroom. That was it for today's class. Goodbye, guys. I will be seeing you next week.